Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So to continue on with my South American adventure, finally Peru is done. Now I have moved on to Chile. The main reason why I would even wanted to go to Chile was for some Chilean sea bass, but I'll explain a little more why I actually didn't get that at all. I booked my flight last minute. This was the few flights that I did not book in advance to Santiago, Chile. I unfortunately had to fly through Lima first. Everything kind of goes through Lima. My flights were getting delayed. It just took so much longer to get to Santiago than originally planned, but obviously I made it. So Chile at that time was also having a lot of protests. When I arrived in Santiago, it was very interesting. Everyone in their mama was waiting for people to come off the plane. So the airport, it was fairly small, but OD crowded. No one spoke English, so I had no idea where the fuck I was going. And for some reason, my Uber was not working. I didn't really have to worry about Ubers in Peru. So when I realized it wasn't working in Chile, I was trying to figure out how do I get to my hostel. And one lady I spoke to that was at a customer service desk, I tried to tell her oh, I was going to this area called Bellavista. And she was just solo? Made me feel mad nervous. And again, I'm cheap. I did not want to spend a ton of money with private cab companies. So luckily I did go up to this one counter. It was called TransVip or TransVIP. Basically, it was like Uber though. So you told them where you were going and they figured out who else was going into these areas. So you were in a van with a bunch of people and then they dropped everybody off. And it actually was fairly cheap. So I don't remember how much it converted to now at this point. Of course, where did I stay? The hostel I stayed at was called La Chimba and it was in Bellavista or Bellavista. And it was a very colorful hostel. It's actually two hostels that are attached in the middle. One is supposed to be the party hostel, one is supposed to be the relaxed hostel, but there's really just a bar on one side. But in between, they have hammocks and a little kitchen, a few living room areas, pool table, a TV room with bean bags. So I thought the hostel itself was cool. I did not like my room. So like I've mentioned before, I usually don't go above an 8-person room, which was what I booked, an 8-person room. However, it was a 3-level bunk. Don't know how the hell I got that, because I would have never booked that. I've seen pictures of that before, but I'm hell no. And then I end up on the fucking 3rd level. And guess where I ended up? On the 3rd level. I had an in-suite bathroom, which was cool. As soon as I walked in, I was this is not what I wanted. I was ready to go. And I was only staying in Chile for 3 days, 3 nights total. I partly felt like I got bit up. I don't know if it was just the mosquitoes being outside or if it was something else, but I just wasn't feeling it. So I don't know if that added to me not liking my room vibe. So I checked in. There were some people that were kind of by the bar. It wasn't, really crazy. But then I was all right, well, I'm starving. So I asked the people at reception, hey, is there any place that I can get something to eat? And they were just walk down that street. I forgot the name of the street. I just know it was 2 blocks over from the hostel, probably midnight. One part of me was should I be roaming these streets at night? And I asked them if it was safe and they said yes. So I was okay. On the block of the hostel was quiet. Once I went to that street and turned, there were a ton of people out. Bars, clubs, people trying to get you to come into the bars and clubs. It was insane. I ended up finding this place called Patio Bellavista. It's enclosed, but it's open and it's a bunch of different restaurants, but they're restaurants. So many options to choose from. Didn't know what I wanted. I picked this one place because it said something about a live band and I think it was called Stage something.
There's something about the Spanish. Oye, como mi ritmo, bueno, vamos a ir. Mulata dice, it's into the nonsense of you. Did I know that I let you down? Y las palmas arriba dice, sorry.
And I ordered seafood ravioli and this huge ass mojito. But the place was popping at midnight, 1 o'clock. All right, well, since, you know, everybody's out and jamming, where do I go to party? So now I'm Googling like places to go out. I found this Caribbean place on Google, which was called Jammin'. Supposedly they played reggae and hip hop and soca. So I went there. I thought maybe black people would be there, not that many, but there were a group of Haitians that were there, and not to say it in any type of way, they were Haitian, and it was a group of them, they were there. So of course they spot me, being the other black person, jamming in the corner by herself. I was not dancing like this, okay? I was dancing proper. So, you know, they see me over there, and I see them looking, but I'm like, I'm just gonna ignore them. But one of the guys actually like came over and tried to introduce himself to me. Did not speak English, kind of spoke Spanish, but he spoke Creole. Google Translate all the way. We danced, like he was really nice. He did not want to let me go. Brought me a drink, and then we went to some other bar, which I guess was like a Haitian bar. I probably shouldn't have walked with them. I probably should have took my ass back to the hostel, but no, you know, I like adventure. And then because he would not let me go and was really trying to like potentially kidnap me, who knows, I was just like, yeah, you know, it's late. I'm just gonna walk back to my hostel. Nice meeting you. Yeah, you know, we can link up again. No. The next day I rented a bike, just rode around, just explored different areas of Santiago. And because of the protests, a lot of the places are covered in graffiti, like statues, the museums, just everywhere had some sort of writing on it. But I wanted to just like use the day to explore. Went to some of the other bohemian, hipster areas. One of the ladies at reception recommended this restaurant. Again, I forgot the name. She said the veggie burger was really good, and honey, the veggie burger, delicious. So I sat outside and had lunch by myself at the restaurant. I also got attacked by 2 homeless people while I was sitting outside having lunch. So, you know, when you sit outside and you're just like, you know, the tables are enclosed by the little gate. So I'm just sitting there, you know, people watching. And one dude came out on the left of me into the enclosed area and was like talking in Spanish and showing me his leg. And his leg was red and irritated. I was just looking at him like, no habla español. I have no idea what you're asking me. I have no money. So he was like, nah, 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 and walked away. So I'm like, geez. Turn back to my food. Next thing I know, this man from the right of me comes, and I thought he was trying to grab my phone. So I grabbed my phone immediately, but he was going to point at my food. Like, here's my burger. He was like this. Yo, what the fuck? So like I hit his hand, and then he's talking in Spanish. Again, I have no idea what the fuck he's saying. And again, tries to like point, like go towards my sandwich. So I smack his hand again, and then he finally walks away. Were you like just bugged out? Were you just trying to like touch my food so then I would give it to you? Like, I don't know. But I was like, oh no, I did not need this basically day one in Santiago. Rode back to where I rented the bikes from, and I went to do a walking tour just because I felt like I wanted to meet people. So the walking tour kind of took me around to some of the places I rode to already. And it was nice to learn more, a little bit more about the history behind what was going on. And they really explained about the protests, the quality of life, the increase in how much things are costing. And I feel like it's very similar across countries as to why they've been protesting, because they were protesting in Paris, Barcelona, and all of it was for the quality of life and the cost of living. Some were a little more aggressive than others. But one thing he also mentioned that I thought was interesting was he talked about racism in Chile. Basically saying that most people in Chile are fair-skinned. So when we went to the square, it was pretty diverse. And like I mentioned before, like I met a group of Haitian men and women, and they were dark-skinned. So he was saying that Chileans have a history of being racist, not for any like major reason, just like they're not used to it. They're used to everyone being fair-skinned. So now when you have an influx of certain groups of people, and one of them, the third largest group of people that have immigrated to Chile have been Haitians. I believe they said either Peruvians or Bolivians, and there was one more, which I can't remember. So I thought that was interesting, and then made sense why I ended up meeting Haitians when I went out. So he was just saying, you might come from all these different countries, and you're used to seeing so many different shades And people, when in Chile, they're not used to that. I didn't experience anything major. Again, I am of fair complexion. And then I'm also American, and I feel like sometimes that also helps when you travel to other countries. They also talked about this way that people pickpocket people. I just want to share this story. So people would like spray some mustard or something on you and then be like, oh my God, you got something on you. Let me help you. And then somebody like steals your shit. So someone from the group, that almost happened to them. Luckily, like his pockets were zipped. Pickpocketing in all countries is a thing. After the tour, we ended in one of these like hippie areas that had a lot of like street vendors and stuff. We went to this museum. They had like a market. They were selling foreign books. I again don't want to mess up the history lesson, so I'm not going to go into the whole history of that museum. There was also this weird ass market that was going on that was selling Asian toys. I also tried empanadas because I love empanadas in New York. Why not go to the source, South America? Yeah, I didn't think they were as good as the ones that I've had in New York. Maybe, you know, our water is different. We season things differently. We have a lot of options. If you've ever been to Empanada Mama, there's so many options that you can put in a damn empanada. And in these countries, they didn't have that many options. If I didn't want anything that had meat in it, then basically it was cheese and maybe some tomato and basil. So basically like a pizza in an empanada. The tour guide and one of the guys I met on the walking tour, his name was Henry. This was his first time traveling solo. So, you know, now I'm a pro. So I was like, hey, well, since you're solo, we can like hang out. I asked him if he wanted to hike up this mountain with me, which was by my hostel. It was San Cristobal Hill. It was high up. It was a good lookout point to like watch the sunset. So we literally hiked up this park hill thing to the top.
I don't plan accordingly.
Saw a hawk or an eagle. So we stayed up there until sunset, and then we walked back down through a park, which is damn near like a jungle in the dark. So I was like, Lord, please don't let somebody jump out from these fucking bushes and try to attack us. When we got down, hungry, went back to Patio Bellavista. We ate at a different restaurant this time. We had tacos, which were actually really yummy. Had now Chilean pisco, which again is the liquor that's made in either Peru or Chile. You gotta see which one you like more. I think after that, it was late, so we planned to meet up the next day to go to Valparaiso. So Valparaiso, which I'm probably not pronouncing 100% correctly, is one of the major seaports in Chile.
Today I'm going to a different town, different city by the beach called Valparaiso because I want to get some fish. And yep, so I'm about to take the train to the bus and I guess I'll get there in about 2 hours. But right now I'm just strolling.
So we took the metro to this bus station and took a coach bus, and it was actually very easy. The bus was not expensive, it was very comfortable. They have a bunch of them just going out every few minutes. And it takes you kind of like through the countryside of Chile, like not really much to see. And then when you get to the city, I heard the area around the bus station is a little sketchy, but once you get off the major coach bus, you walk like 2 blocks and get on like this little local tram bus that takes you to the actual water side. Went there and we did another walking tour. They told us again about the history about Valparaiso, which means Paradise Valley, Valley of Paradise, and how it's also a UNESCO heritage site. It's known for its colorful mountains and its hilltops. So you take this funicular thing up into the hills, and then they have a lot of graffiti. The tour guide explained a lot of different things to us as to like what some of the art represented and what it meant, and just also how hard it is to live in those hills. Like one of the houses that we were by, it was burnt down. It's been that way, he said, for a long time because one, now that it's a heritage site, it costs a lot of money for someone to come and technically build on that land. And then the way the little alleys and stuff are set up, it's very hard to really try to get the supplies and things that you need in there. So even when houses burn, it like causes such a massive fire because they're all so close, and it's really hard for firefighters to get to these places. But Henry and I, after the tour, walked around and went to some of the street arts that we didn't see. So I took a bunch of pictures in front of those, these piano steps, the We Are Not Hippies, We Are Happies, the Sin Miendo. There was a few that we saw that I just really loved, and I'm sure there was more, but you know, just in the essence of time. After we did walk around there, we took a local bus to Vina Del Mar, because that's supposedly where the beach was, because Valparaiso doesn't have a beach. Saw this flower clock. Walked along the water, saw some castle thing, and then we got to the beach. It was, you know, the regular ass beach. They had some fancy ass restaurants, but I think they weren't open yet because it wasn't like dinner time. So we chilled on the beach, watched the sunset. So weird thing, my feet started peeling like really badly. I just thought maybe I was dying starting from my feet. I even started hitting up my nurse friends like, hey, what does this mean? Cause like my whole foot is peeling off. So I don't know if it was because of the moisture, walking around a lot. I thought like I should put my feet in the ocean and maybe salt water would cure everything. But then I ended up getting sand stuck in the skin. That was, yeah. And then I heard of this really delicious restaurant, which was called Tres Peces. So the seafood, that's what I was looking for. I was trying to find some Chilean sea bass. Do you understand how good Chilean sea bass is in New York? And now I go to Chile and I'm trying to get some. Why did I find out that sea bass in Chile, it's called Merluza, and it's not anything fancy? When we first got to Valparaiso, we went to this restaurant and I saw it on the menu and I was like, can I have that? And the lady was like, oh, it's still frozen, some shit like that. But she was like, we can give you this other fish, which is actually costs more. Fine, but in my heart, Chilean sea bass is worth so much more, but whatever. But so we went to this fancy-ish seafood place. The wait was a minute, so you know it was good. Up in the hills, I had like a fish soup. Oh my God, it was so good. It was so yummy. So I would definitely recommend that restaurant. It was good. Just make sure you give yourself enough time, because we were a little rushed because we wanted to make sure to get that last bus back to Santiago, or we would have been left in Valparaiso, which, you know, would have been an adventure, but you know, don't want to spend extra money. Got in a cab, took it straight back to the bus station, got on our last bus back, luckily, but it took us back to a different bus station than the one that we left from, which looked a little, The next day, which I actually got sick.
Coronavirus! Coronavirus!
So during the day, I didn't do anything. I actually just chilled because I just felt horrible.
Hello, friends. Unfortunately, I now have a cold. How do I get a cold during the summer? I don't understand. It's Christmas. They had a barbecue, but tomorrow I go to Argentina, which should hopefully be fun.
They did have a like Christmas Eve like barbecue dinner that night. Unfortunately, I don't eat meat, so there was no point in paying for it when I wasn't gonna eat anything. But it was cool to like chill with everyone, to like be with everyone that was in the hostel for Christmas Eve. I also was low on cash because because of the holiday, I forgot to convert more money. I had to be mindful of making sure I had enough money to get to the airport the next day. And I took a cab to a bus station and then took a bus to the airport, because that was the cheapest way, and it was easy. 3 days in Chile, very short. I do think that it would have been nice if I could have spent more time there, because there were other places to go that were not like very close to Santiago. Like there is a park, I'm forgetting the name right now, which was a really good place to technically go see. I tried to pack things in, and that's why I said I probably should have been a little more mindful and maybe stayed just 2 weeks in Peru and then 2 weeks in Brazil, instead of trying to throw in 2 other countries in the middle. But I was just like, if I'm in South America, might as well do it. So at least I got a little taste. So I do know that when I eventually go back, I have an idea of where to stay, kind of what I want to do. I definitely would like to go back out there and try different bars and other restaurants. And also, people were recommending spending the night in Valparaiso. It's the bohemian artsy area, so they say like the vibe is just completely different, but I enjoyed it. So, and I hope you're enjoying it too. Yeah. traveling alone in Chile. Next stop was Argentina. So please come back. Make sure you subscribe, like, follow, share, leave me some comments. Tell me that you like what I'm doing and what I'm sharing with you. And if you have any questions about anything, please feel free to ask. Follow me on Instagram at TraylinHusbands. And yeah, come back for my Argentina experience. I did some tango. See ya.